Hi, I'm Bill Pearis, an editor at Brooklyn Vegan, and you are listening to BV Interviews, which features conversations with some of our favorite artists. This week, we're talking to Mike Ness, who has led SoCal punk icon Social Distortion since 1978. The band just released Born to Kill, which is their first album in 15 years. It's been a long time coming, delayed further by COVID and Mike's cancer diagnosis and successful treatment. Mike and I discussed the making of Born to Kill, the 70s inspirations behind it, and working with producer Dave Sardy and collaborators Lucinda Williams and Benmont Tench of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. We also talk about how beating cancer energized his desire to make even more music, Social Distortion's upcoming tour with the Descendents and The Chats, early Social D documentary Another State of Mind, playing Little Steven's underground garage cruise, 5 records he thinks everyone should own, and more. One note, we had some technical difficulties with our connection, so the audio is a little grittier and glitchier than usual. Sorry about that, but let's get into it. Here's my conversation with Social Distortion's Mike Ness. It's my pleasure to welcome to the show Mike Ness, who has led punk greats Social Distortion for more than 40 years. Their 8th album, Born to Kill, is also their first in 15 years, and it's a very welcome return. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you.
Nice to see you. I'm just going to start by saying I have a lot of history with Social Distortion. Mommy's Little Monster was my first ever punk record.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome.
So I was like 14 years old, and my friend and I, we decided that we'd heard about punk through probably like either Quincy or Chips. They both did punk episodes.
Yes. Yeah. The TV shows. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
And so we drove, or we got our parents to like drive us to the mall in the next town over. I'm from a small town in rural West Virginia where there is no record stores. And, anyway, so we went to the punk section of the Camelot Music, and we bought Mommy's Little Monster and the 12-inch of Dead Kennedy's Holiday in Cambodia with Police Truck on the other side. So that was the first punk that I ever heard.
Well, it's an excellent start. Yes.
I agree. So we're a couple weeks out from the release of the album. This one, as we said, was a long time coming, 15 years. How are you feeling less than 2 weeks out that it's finally going to see the light of day?
Oh, well, geez. I mean, it's been such a long wait. I mean, since the record's been done for like 7 months or something, but of course, then you have to do the artwork and the manufacturing. And so there's been a couple of times where I've had to just get in my car and listen to it and make sure that it's real.
Uh-huh.
That it's really happening. But yeah, it feels great. I mean, from start to finish, it was about a 3.5 year process.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when we stopped the touring machine and got into pre-production mode, and there were just so many songs to go through, 30 years of writing, 40 years of writing, and a lot of ideas, a lot of unfinished songs, a lot of songs that just didn't make it on other records, not because they weren't good enough, but because I had more than I needed. And then new songs that I've written. And so it was quite a process, just sifting through and taking voice memos and turning them into songs and seeing if they fit with this vibe of this record.
Not only is it a long time coming, but you've obviously gone through a lot in the last few years. You had the cancer diagnosis right before you were about to start recording, right?
No, we were actually halfway done with the record.
Halfway done.
Yeah, halfway done. But that stopped, and that was a whole year of surgery, deciding whether I was going to do treatments, then the treatments, and then the rehabilitation was gnarly.
Right.
Yeah. And then, so I was ready in a year, but, the producer isn't just sitting around, he had stuff scheduled, and so we had to wait, and I had to do a tour that we had postponed, which was great because it was a great way to get back, to be back on a stage in less than a year, slightly less than a year, was pretty miraculous. Very grateful.
Yeah. When you got your diagnosis and you were halfway through the record and it had been more than a decade, were you just like, give me a break?
Oh, man. During my treatments and during it all, I just found myself trying to negotiate with God. Like, just let me finish this record. I gotta finish this record. This is me. It's so important to me.
Also, tonsil cancer, it's so close to the vocal cords that would be just another oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, I had no idea. I came out of surgery with tubes in me and not able to swallow, and tried to learn to eat all over again and speak and then eventually sing. Yeah.
Were the vocals for this album recorded before or after?
After.
Okay.
But I think that's good, because I came back singing like there was no tomorrow. Yeah.
I think
something like this is sometimes good,
Right. You got to look for the positive in it, I guess.
Yeah.
I think the record's really great. It sounds like almost like a summation of everything that Social Distortion has done up to now. And, there's also some songs that are sort of about your past. And it feels like if you hadn't already had a song called The Story of My Life, you could have called this album The Story of My Life, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree with that. I mean, it's got all the signature stuff, but also, I played around with some new different kinds of grooves but yeah, typically I write reflectively and autobiographically. Born to Kill, the song could be our mission statement, of the band and the band's career. But yeah, it was fun to come up with songs that all kind of fit with this vibe.
And how would you describe the vibe of this album?
Well, my intention was to pay an homage to the late 70s, that first wave of punk. And, all the bands that I grew up listening to that influenced me, whether they were British or American but also the stuff before punk, the Glitter stuff, the David Bowie and T-Rex and bands like that. So, yeah. So, I mean, it's got kind of the artwork, I kind of wanted that Warhol pop art feel that so many bands were using, back then for their album artwork.
And you worked with Shepard Fairey on the artwork for this record.
Yes. Yes, we did. It's our second collaboration together. It's
really cool, I think.
Yeah. I mean, he's a great guy, very talented, obviously. And, I really like what he's doing, making statements with his art,
You were saying how you wanted this record to have your 70s influences in the title track, Born to Kill. I mean, there's specific references to Lou Reed and Bowie and Iggy Pop on there.
Yeah. Exactly. Some of those artists shaped me before I even could play guitar.
Who was the first musician that really or song or band that you heard that sparked that thing that changed your life or made you discover that you really loved this kind of thing?
It's hard to remember because it was as early as 5 years old that I remember. So it could have been what was being played on the radio in 1967, which was a lot of great music. Or it could have been a record that one of my uncles gave me, probably Stones or Beatles. Yeah, more than likely.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, because for a 5-year-old, it just sounds larger than life.
And it was such a period of time when they were reinventing the rule book almost every day, every record, you know?
Yeah. I mean, they were inventing as they were going. You know, it's really quite fascinating when you look back at the evolution of rock and roll. It was really just evolving every day into something different, but something much, much more.
Yeah. Did any of the lyrics change post treatment at all?
No.
Okay.
No. I pretty much had it all written, and I mean, I've written a couple songs since then that kind of when I was in my recovery I really just messed around with country songs, writing country stuff, because it was easy for me to just play quietly and kind of work my voice up. But I did end up writing a song called Warn Me, which will be on the next record. But, you know, it talks about this experience. But when we were playing it live in 24, I would just kind of introduce it like, can I see a show of hands from everyone who's had a rough year this year? You know?
Yeah.
And when you see all the hands come up, it's like, okay, well, this song's for all of us. And I wanted it to be inclusive and you know, something that everyone could get something out of, whatever it is going through.
I was just going to say, you said you like were playing that song last year or 2 years ago, and Social Distortion, you all tend to road test stuff before it actually gets to the album.
Oh God. Sometimes I do it before before I'm even finished writing the lyrics. I just make up stuff. You know? But as if I've got a chorus. I have to have a chorus.
Right.
You know, to just stick in their heads. But sometimes, yeah, I'm just too excited and about the new stuff and want to just hurry up and play it and show people.
I think Born to Kill is a great opener, but it is missing the one sort of Social Distortion signature that comes to my mind, which is like the pick slide, but then you get that on The Way Things Were, so I have to wait like 3 songs to get the Social Distortion pick slide.
Yeah, there's a couple more pick slides later on, but yeah.
You have a couple cool guests on the album. How did the duet with Lucinda Williams, Crazy Dreamer, come to be?
Well, when I was writing it, I kind of always heard it as kind of a duet. And it made sense. Her and I have been friends for a long time. And her tone is very close to mine. So I thought that she was just the perfect fit for this. And it was so fun to go to Nashville and track it. And she was great.
She has a club here in New York now.
She does?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that.
It's called Lucinda's, and it's the...
where is that?
It's the space that used to be Brownies in the East Village. And it was on like Avenue A and 11th Street, I want to say.
Okay.
I
don't remember Brownies, but
it was also
that's incredible.
Yeah. So maybe a surprise pop-in next time you're in New York.
Yes, I'm going to be there soon. I'm pressed to do there. So I think I've got a calendar I just have to look at every day and study. I don't feel like I've been this busy since the 90s, but that's a good thing.
Yeah. It's a cool little club, like maybe 200 capacity or something like that. So
yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm really happy to hear that.
The album, you've also got Benmont Tench from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers on.
That's right. That's right. A lot of people don't know that I'm a huge Tom Petty fan. And we were without a keyboard player when it came time to record this. So like we're recording in LA, we might as well call the best guy in the business to come play on our record. And man, it was just so great.
Had you met him before?
No, I never met him.
Were you just like quizzing him the whole time when he wasn't playing, like asking him about like songs?
Well, not really, because he was kind of going through some medical stuff, similar to what I had gone through. So, you know, he showed up, but you know, I didn't want to push it because I could tell he was like, all right, as soon as I'm done with this, I got to go lay down.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just having him on the record is enough for me. I mean, it's a legend right there.
How are you feeling these days? How's your like strength level? Are you about ready to start a tour in 6 weeks or however long it is?
I am. I'm actually. I can't wait to just get out on the road and play. It's just all this other stuff. It's just, it's great. I'm so grateful from the response we've got from the industry, and but that's where I want to be. It's just out there on stage every night. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel great.
How about I mean, I guess there's like the stamina, but also like your voice. What are you like doing to prep yourself?
Mainly just eating right, and I haven't been able to exercise because we've been so busy. But I have my vocal coach gave me vocal warm-ups to do before the show, and they really just help relax me and relax everything. And like, I try to do it well every time so that I feel confident when I go out there. But something really strange, happened because, they had to interrupt all this and cut in there and take away tissue. And I feel like, honestly, I feel like it made my tone a little purer. And, man, some people would pay a lot of money to do that. And, yeah. So it's kind of an added bonus. But in answer to your question, I feel great, and I'll feel better once I just get out there and start playing.
You co-produced this album with Dave Sardy, who's worked with just about everybody, including Oasis and Noel Gallagher. And I have to say, I hear a little Oasis on the song No Way Out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's funny because, okay, so there's 2 songs on this record that came from before or right around the White Heat demos. And I won't tell you what the other one is, but No Way Out was one of them. And I had a chorus, but no lyrics for that. So it didn't make it on White Light. And I think we changed the key. I just felt like it had the right groove and right vibe and attitude for this song. And, it was just like, the song's just sitting around on a cassette, and it's a shame. And, but it's funny that you say that because in the 90s, I was very close-minded and was guilty of contempt prior to investigation. So I never gave Oasis a chance. Till recent, I saw them. Me and my son and I went, and he's a huge fan. And I was just entertained the whole night. This is like a few months ago, and I became an Oasis fan. So, unfortunately, there's no Oasis influence in that. But
oh, okay.
If it is, it's completely telepathic.
Right. Well, maybe you're both having the same influences,
Well, I did. It's funny because during his show, I could pick up on subtle similarities. Yeah, for sure.
You and Liam there's like a similar, like just a little bit of roughness to the voice. Like you're really singing out on that song. And it just, something about it just reminded me of Oasis. Did you see him at was it the Rose Bowl?
Yeah, the Rose Bowl. It was like a warm night. The sound was great. And you hear 100,000 people singing a song, it's powerful. And I was just entertained the whole night. I was like, God, I'm an idiot. I should have seen these guys in the 90s. But everyone tells me they weren't that good in the 90s. They're better now.
I would actually agree with that. I saw them a couple times in the 90s.
Okay.
But I saw them early on in their career. So I saw them at Roseland in New York, which is, 3,000 or something.
Yeah, I love that. I miss that venue.
they made so much more sense in a stadium with everybody singing along than in like a smaller club, you know?
I see. Yeah. Yeah, it was my producer, Dave Sardy, who urged me. He had just come from London and saw them. He says, look, you've got to see them. You just have to see it. He's like, they don't move around that much on stage. They're not jumping up doing acrobatics or any of that shit. But he said, but it just goes back to just great songwriting. And when you hear all those people singing along, it's just like, it's incredible.
Did Dave Sardy bring anything to the album that you weren't expecting, or did he just help you like record the songs? I don't know how like a producer works with somebody like you who's been doing it for so long.
Well, I mean, typically I think a producer is supposed to challenge the artist a little bit, but him and I are just, we want the same thing. And there was a couple of songs, you know, he said, let's bring this one up a little bit. There's one we're going to release around the midterms that's not on this record, but one of the extra songs we recorded, and very Clash inspired, very political. You know, it was his idea to bump it up, and you know, I just learned from working with other producers to try and keep an open mind. And as soon as we did it, I was like, all right, now we're cooking with gas, and yeah, this feels great. But from start to finish, it's been just such a great experience. I don't want to make records. I want to make records the next 10 years, as many as I can, and I don't want to make them with anybody else except him. Yeah.
On that note, I think it was a couple years ago I read an interview where like you were already planning out the next record after what this one is going to be. Is that still the plan? Like is the second next one's already like well in the works?
Like I said, there was four or five that we recorded when we recorded all these, and then I've written a handful in the last couple of years, and then there's the other 30 that we didn't use for this record. So yeah, I mean, my ideal situation would be to shock everybody and put another record out in a somewhat timely manner.
You should just surprise drop it on people, you know, like on Christmas Day or something.
That's right. Pick a holiday and just bomb everybody with it.
Do you have a favorite song on the new record?
Well, Born to Kill has always been my favorite, but I would have to say that my second would probably be Partners in Crime, just because, you know, I was trying to capture the spirit of, you know, the beginning of my career, you know, and the opposition that we faced. And yeah, it was tough, you know, and it's a real brutal determination to keep going. But fortunately, I had no other options.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you weren't going to get a desk job somewhere.
Well, no, nor did I have a college, the option of going away to school or anything like that. It was kind of like this or learn to work in construction, which I did from 85 to about 89 when I first got, you know, clean and sober off drugs and alcohol. You know, we weren't making much money back then with the band, so I had to just get a job, learn a trade, and become a responsible adult.
And then you signed to Epic and had like huge hits.
Yeah, we put on Prison Bound, which got us a little radio airplay, and then got us signed to a major label. And yeah, you know, we were on Epic Records, Sony Records. We were their token punk band, you know. And but yeah, you know, the songwriting was at a pivotal point at that stage. It was definitely some risk taking.
But it also came along when, you know, Nirvana hadn't really happened yet, but there were commercial alternative stations outside of like New York and LA finally, like most major cities had one, and so there was a lot more opportunities
Absolutely. And thank God for those, I mean, there's still a handful of them around. I just went and did a, a little conference. And I did an interview with Matt Pinfield, and
Oh,
it was great. We met all these programmers from all these little stations across the country, but it was really cool.
I was working for my college station when your self-titled album came out.
Oh, well, that's how I met Matt Pinfield. It was a Prison Bound tour, and before we would go to sound check, we would go to the college and do an interview.
Right.
And he was, yeah, that's how it was. Long time ago.
Yeah.
And we're both still doing it. That was what made the interview so cool was,
And you both like survived some like serious health issues too.
yeah,
So
that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
you always tend to put a cover on your albums, and this time it's Chris Isaak's Wicked Game, which I will admit is a song that I think there are too many covers of already, but
Yeah.
I think
I
your
would agree with you. Yeah.
but I think your version is really great, and it almost felt inevitable to me. Like, I can't believe they haven't already covered this.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's great. I appreciate that. Yes. Typically, I try to find more obscure songs to cover because I like to turn people on to artists that maybe they've never heard of. This song's been covered so many times, and it wasn't until I just heard it one day and picked up a guitar and started playing it and go, man, I think I could, I know it's been covered a lot of times, but I don't think anyone's done a real just dusty, dirty rock and roll swinging swagger version of it. And it became a challenge. Yeah. And ended up being really fun song to do and a really fun song to play live.
I was going to say, you guys have been doing it for a while now, and it goes over well.
Yes. The first time we did it was on a tour in Europe, and it was completely unexpected. And I think they had a combination of like shock and enjoyment at the same time. But from where I was standing, it looked like they liked it. And that was like, cool. This was a good idea.
Yeah, I hadn't looked at the track list that closely when I was listening to the record for the first time, and I was like, wait, I know this song. And I was like, Wicked Game is like, oh, this is like perfect for them, like it was.
Trying to just kind of make it our own and yeah, it was that's how I normally pick cover songs. It's just simply a song that I wish I would have written, and I would love to sing that.
In preparation for this interview today, last night, I watched Another State of Mind, which I had never seen before.
Oh, the tragic comedy. Yes.
It is such a cool little, like, preserved in amber, like, moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
You can't imagine a movie like that being made now, even with a young band like that.
No, you probably wouldn't be able to get the band's attention. They'd all be on their phones and isolated and just like, man, I'm so grateful for that. I had trouble getting connected with you today on Google Chrome and all this. Yeah. But, I know that all this stuff is necessary, but I'm so grateful for the period of time I grew up, the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And I remember the first time they gave me a pager so I could do press on the road. I was like getting buzzed on the bus. I'm like, back then you'd have to pull over and go to a payphone.
Right.
But it drove me so crazy that I just put the pager in a drawer, because I didn't like that someone could get a hold of me. This is the great escape.
Right.
Why are you getting a hold of me right now? This is my escape.
What comes to mind when someone brings up Another State of Mind or that tour that you did?
I used to be kind of weird about it. Like, it's in a way, it's kind of like looking at your old yearbook and go, God, what a dork I was, but and part of me, is like sad because I see that kid and I see how lost he is. And it was, it was already bad right then, but then it got worse when I got home from that tour. And so it's kind of sad, but it's also, something that I can take pride in, because that was, wow, like that was the beginning of all of this. That was the beginning of what is now. And, even though I was a mess, personally, I still had a passion and an undeniable focus that's kind of required, in this, if you want longevity.
I think my favorite scene was just you guys on the bus, or maybe it was backstage somewhere, and you were playing the earliest versions of the song "Another State of Mind." And you very rarely get to see the creation of things that like process. That. Yeah, so I thought that was really cool.
And it's funny, that's still how I write. I mean, I still write the same way.
Do you still have that acoustic guitar?
No.
Yeah.
I don't even know whose that was. I don't know. That was just probably a cheap.
Speaking of touring, you guys will be out with the Descendents and The Chats later this summer. That's a pretty cool triple bill, I think.
I give that a lot of thought. We already had it set up with us and the Descendants, which I think is a great pairing. We've only done this twice before, once with Flogging Molly and once with Bad Religion. But it was very important for me to bring in a third band, and a third band that was making a lot of noise. And I wanted an opening band was going to make a lot of ruckus, because I wanted people to know what they were in store for that evening. And they're also a young band who I see like they've got the fire that we had. And I try to look for bands like that, that really have that fire, and they have that, and there's a lot of them out there. And I try much harder now just to pay attention to what's going on out there.
Have you seen them play live before, the Chats?
No. I've only seen them like on Instagram.
Yeah.
These guys are brilliant. They're perfect.
Yeah, they're really fun live. Social Distortion just played Little Steven's Underground Rock Cruise, right?
Uh-huh.
Had you done one of those boat shows before?
That was our third one.
Okay.
Yeah. I love them. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I was calling my wife, and she's like, "Why are you in such a good mood?" I go, "I don't know." And it's just a very controlled environment, I think. I have a room where I'm pretty isolated, and I can watch the bands play on the deck, so I really have to leave my room, except when it's time to perform. So, but it's cool because it's like, you forget really you're even on a boat, and it's a real music lovers situation. People who are there truly love music, and they just want to get a different angle, or a different, it's just different. And I really enjoy them.
Who did you enjoy watching as just a fan?
Oh my God. Well, this time, Red Cross played. They were amazing. I'm trying to remember. I'll tell you, I didn't know who Michael Monroe was.
Okay.
Right? But my bass player was into that kind of music, Hanoi Rocks and all that stuff. And we were just talking about it before our show. Well, it turned out the next day, I had the day off. He was playing. And this guy, he's my age. He's probably weighs 135 pounds.
Uh-huh.
But like, he came out and it was just like true entertainer, and just the energy. He had the energy of a 25-year-old. And that was so impressive. He was climbing the scaffolding. He was going out into the crowd. He was doing kicks. He was doing, and I was never really into that hair band stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But these guys seem to have like better songs, than some of those bands. And I really liked it. I was like, man, this guy's an inspiration, man. He's like, it was like watching a featherweight boxing fight, where they're throwing 10 times as many punches as a heavyweight fight. That's what it was like.
Okay. Hanoi Rocks, unlike some of those bands from the Sunset Strip era, like they were more clearly influenced by Bowie and the New York Dolls and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
And you mentioned Red Cross. They're another one of these, the McDonald brothers. They don't seem to have aged.
Yeah.
No,
the bass player, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was looking at him from the back, so I didn't see his like gray goatee or whatever, but I was like, this guy looks like he did in 1982.
Yeah.
I was blown away. Yeah.
Same slacks too, probably. I've only got a couple more questions for you.
Okay.
Is there anything else that we should know? You've got the tour coming out, but any other news?
We've got a video coming for tonight, the song Tonight. That'll be our second video. I've been having fun working with editors, just doing I think we hit one that hits today, the lyric videos. I mean, the record label was just going to put one out with just the logo on and the lyrics running for 5 minutes. So I go, I can't do that. I'm sorry. I can't do that.
Right.
I'll pay for it if I have to. So it's been fun for me because I feel like maybe had I gone to school, I might have gotten into filmmaking or something. I really enjoy film, but right now I'm just editing, little lyric videos, and yeah.
You're pretty hands-on as far as the artwork for all your records. You're like, you get art direction credits and stuff. So
yeah, look, these guys were in the band back then, and so they honor my vision. It's always been my vision. The visuals that go along with it, are very important to me, whether it's merchandise or album artwork or how we dress or anything. Ad ads in the newspaper, like
the T-shirts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. T-shirts especially. Yeah.
Where do you live these days?
I'm back in Orange County. I had left for a few years to our getaway house. We decided to just sell here and try and go live without a mortgage for a while. But then all this happened with the cancer. And then also during the cancer, I had a grandson on the way.
Oh, congratulations.
So also what I was bargaining with God about was like, I got to be around for this. And so, we would be 4 hours away from our grandson and we just can't. So we're back in Orange County and close to him. And it's just been a life-changing experience and kind of a chance to do a do-over in it, if you will. Yeah.
Right. Very nice. And congratulations on the grandson.
Yeah, thank you. And then work has also required me to be here. So I'm in my studio right now, and I really do like being close to my studio because I can come here during the week and use it as my office. I can play my guitars. I can drive one of my old cars if I want. So it's nice.
All right. So the final question of the interview, we always ask our guests if they could name, this is a put you on the spot kind of question. Name 5 records that you think everybody should own.
Okay. Definitely the first Ramones record. I don't know what that one's called. Is it just the Ramones or is it?
It just turned 50 like last week.
That's a must. I would say Rolling Stones, Exile on Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
That's 2. I would say T-Rex, Electric Warrior.
Okay. Yep.
That's 3. Ziggy Stardust.
Sure.
David Bowie.
Yep.
And let's go back to, I'd have to say the Pistols album, because what a lot of people don't realize about that first wave of punk and the Pistols kind of really exemplify it. I mean, Steve Jones is that the album is laced with Chuck Berry riffs, guitar style playing. What a lot of people don't realize is that first wave of punk, where it was Blondie or the Dead Boys or, Johnny Thunders, it was still very blues-based rock and roll.
Right.
Still kind of on the traditional side, just a little bit more sass and a little bit more attitude, a little bit more, a little bit more honesty. Like they're singing about the stuff on the streets.
Right.
And so it was a little less fantasy, a little bit more reality. That was really what helped me, because I grew up with classic rock, before I ever got into punk. So it wasn't that big of a jump to transition to that.
Right.
So I'd say those 5 should definitely be in your daily playlist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of daily playlist, are you a streaming service person at all? Do you dabble with that?
I don't know how to do that.
Okay. No. Okay.
I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it on the plane to watch a movie. I don't know how to do it. Right now, my wife and I are renting a house at the beach, and we have no TV. We haven't had a TV for almost a year, but she has a computer. We watch, the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City on a computer.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I guess we're streaming, but
right.
Yeah. But no, I have a couple old, I'm an audiophile, so I've got old stereo setups throughout and still listen to CDs and vinyl, and yeah.
Right. Speaking of when you said watching Real Housewives, it also made me think of the scene in Another State of Mind, where you're talking about watching Mary Tyler Moore and the Bob Newhart show.
Like when I write my book, there's going to be a whole chapter on television, because television was such an escape for me, and such a it was like a babysitter, and
Sure.
It was such a form of for me to my imagination. And I don't know if you ever remember a series in the 90s called Dream On.
Sure. HBO show.
Yeah. And the guy that's kind of like me, where, I mean, I'm in a different way, but I still find comfort in watching television and film. And if it's trash, sometimes it's trashy reality. Sometimes it's a foreign film. Sometimes it's an old classic. But yeah, that's still a big part of my life.
Yeah, I think people of a certain age, there just weren't as many channels to watch, and so everybody watched Gilligan's Island after school, and the Beverly Hillbillies. It was
something to look forward to.
Yep, and you just watched them over and over and over again.
Yeah, Three Stooges,
Quincy,
Oh yeah, Columbo,
love Columbo. Yep, all those shows. All right, Mike, that's going to do it. I'm glad we figured out all our technical difficulties and we're able to talk. A lot of fun talking to you today. And again, congratulations on the new album. I think it's great.
Thank you so much, Bill. Hopefully, maybe we can meet up in New York.
Yeah. If you're maybe when you make that surprise gig at Lucinda's.
That'd be amazing.
Thanks again to Mike Ness of Social Distortion for being on this week's show. Be sure to check out their great new album, Born to Kill, and catch them on tour with the Descendents and Chats later this year. While I have you, be sure to check out our other podcast, BV Weekly, where my coworkers Dave and Andrew and Amanda, and sometimes myself, discuss the week's hot button music news, the latest releases, and more. You can also follow Brooklyn Vegan on social media, and if you liked this episode, be sure to tell your musically minded friends about it, as well as do all those other things, like, subscribe, write us a review, give us 5 stars, all that kind of stuff. It really does help us reach more ears. Big thanks to our mix engineer, Nick Gray, and Michael Silverstein for the theme music. I'm Bill Pearis. Thanks for listening.